Škoda widens its EV offering with this compact yet spacious family model, the Elroq. It slots in below the Enyaq, but still manages to feel like a more usably sized family car than the other small VW Group EVs, whose engineering it shares. If you've been holding back for a more versatile kind of smaller EV, this Czech contender could be worth trading up to.
Let's get straight to it. The Elroq is an uncommonly well-engineered small EV, one of the very best in the segment, but it's also one of the heavier cars in its class, and that's a common theme amongst EVs with the VW Group rear-driven drivetrain that this Škoda uses. Front-driven electric cars are almost always lighter, and that's probably because they don't need so much strengthening to meet crash performance standards. Perhaps that's why Kia's switched to a front-driven format for its rival EV3. Nearly 2.1 tonnes when tested. The bigger battery Elroq EV we're trying today is about the weight of a baby grand piano, heavier than the equivalent version of that key Korean competitor. Of course, you could eliminate a lot of that difference by choosing this Škoda with its smallest battery, but that would see you in a base 55 kilowatt-hour Elroq 50 model, which hardly anyone wants because, of course, it only goes 233 miles between charges. The mid-level 63 kilowatt-hour Elroq 60 that most Škoda folk are going to choose does better, of course, 265 miles, while the 82 kilowatt-hour Elroq 85 that, as I mentioned earlier, we're driving here today does better still, supposedly offering up to 356 miles, although that is still 20 miles off an equivalent 81.4 kilowatt-hour Kia EV3. The top dual motor Elroq VRS hot hatch has an 84 kilowatt-hour battery, and that's rated at 339 miles. You might sense some of that weight in the measured linear way that this Škoda blends its torque to the tarmac away from rest, but that's not to say it feels slow. Even the base 50 model's little 170 PS motor has quite as much pep as you'll need for everyday driving. It makes 62 from rest in 8.7 seconds. I figure the 204 PS volume 60 version improves to 7.7 seconds. We'd expected this 85 variant to feel quite a lot faster. Its 286 PS drivetrain is basically the same as that of the CUPRA Born VZ hot hatch, but unless you have a lot more space in the traffic than modern British highways tend to provide, you probably won't feel that it is. 62 miles an hour is rated at 6.4 seconds, but that requires selection of the sport drive mode that you'd ideally want to avoid for reasons of range. The few that do want electrifying performance from their Elroq are best served by the rare dual motor VRS flagship model, which has 340 PS all-wheel drive and makes 62 in 5.2 seconds en route to a 111 miles an hour top speed, which is 12 miles an hour faster than you'll get from the two base powertrains. With most variants, all you get in terms of regen control is the extra B setting on the stubby little gear selector, which, if you're anything like us, you'll keep forgetting to engage. Around the twisty stuff, there's not a huge amount of steering feedback, but the helm is precise and accurate enough for this Škoda to be hustled along quite quickly if that's required. Without the badge work, would you guess at this being a Škoda? Well, perhaps not. The Elroq introduces the brand's more future-conscious, so-called modern solid design language. This was previewed by the company's Vision 75 concept model of 2022. As a result, the neighbours might take a second glance. Perhaps what's more important is that here you're getting more metal for your money than the class norm. Now, although the Elroq is priced against relatively compact EV crossovers, its dimensions are closer to more spacious ones. We mentioned the new modern solid design language. The most notable aspect of that is the striking frontal four eyes light signature of the tech deck face nose section, which on the clamshell bonnet replaces the usual Škoda circular badge with lettering. Here at the back, the gently sloping roofline merges into a roof spoiler with finlets above the tailgate, all of which, along with a completely smooth underbody, helps with aerodynamics. The 0.26 CD drag coefficient is better than you'd think from such a boxy shape. Time to take a look up front. Well, it's very like an Enyaq, and that's a good thing. There's nothing particularly luxurious or trendy about the design or finish of this cabin with this big central screen, but you don't expect that at this price point. It all seems to have been well screwed together by the Mlada Boleslav Czech factory with its welcome absence of shiny piano black plastic and plenty of eco-themed materials. Those are particularly in evidence with the optional Lodge trimming package we have fitted here, although that entails the need for orange EasyJet style seatbelts, which rather detract from Skoda's insistence that it's no longer a budget brand. It is refreshing not to be staring at an unnecessarily large and complicated instrument screen through the wheel spokes here, just a nicely integrated little digital cockpit display that tells you everything you need to know and nothing that you don't. Time to take a look in the rear. It's not class-leadingly big back here, but headroom's good, and you certainly don't feel as cramped as you would do in an ID.3 or a CUPRA Born. It's actually not that much different to the space you'll get in the back of the brand's larger Enyaq. Let's finish as usual with a look out back, where this powered tailgate costs extra. For us, this is the only area where the Elroq loses out significantly to the larger Enyaq, but even so, the 470 litre space revealed here, 115 litres down on the larger model, will be quite sufficient for most families. Note to designers of rival brands, this is how you do boot space. Most customers will tick the box for the optional transport package, and that will give you a variable height boot floor, a double-sided boot floor mat, and the cleverest touch, this net which fits below the parcel shelf for the charging leads. The seat back split is conventional 60/40, but you do get a ski hatch, so longer items don't necessarily have to go on the roof if you've got a couple of rear-seated passengers. When everything is folded down flat, there's up to 1,580 litres of space available. On to battery replenishment. Now, one of the big disappointments we had at the original launch of Skoda's larger Enyaq EV was its feeble public charging speed, improved since, of course. This Elroq is much better provided for from the beginning, but its charging speed still varies quite a lot depending on the powertrain you're choosing. It is fortunate that few will want the smallest 55 kilowatt hour, 52 kilowatt hour usable battery used in the base Elroq 50. That can only DC charge at a maximum speed of 145 kilowatts, which means that when it's hooked up to a public rapid charger, it can be energized from 10 to 80% in 25 minutes. The Elroq 60's 63 kilowatt hour battery, 59 kilowatt hours of that is usable, charges at 165 kilowatts, so charging from 10 to 80% takes 24 minutes. The bigger 82 kilowatt hour battery that we're using in this 85 model, 77 kilowatt hours is usable there, can be DC charged at up to 175 kilowatts and can hit a 10 to 80% DC charge in 28 minutes. The top dual motor VRS model can charge at up to 185 kilowatts and complete a 10 to 80% charge in 26 minutes. What about replenishing the battery at home? Well, with the 55 kilowatt hour battery of the base 50 Elroq, full AC charging takes around 8 hours with a typical 7.2 kilowatt wall box. You can reduce that to 5 hours 30 minutes if you're able to use a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. With the 63 kilowatt hour battery of the 60 Elroq, you'll need around 9 hours with the typical 7.2 kilowatt wall box. You can reduce that to 6 hours 30 minutes with a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. With the 82 kilowatt hour battery of this 85 Elroq, as with the 84 kilowatt hour battery of the Elroq VRS, you'll need around 12 hours with a typical 7.2 kilowatt wall box, and you can reduce that to 8 hours with a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. Ideally, the Elroq is the EV Škoda would have used to launch its electric vehicle offensive back in 2020. Today, it's the car which was originally envisaged to replace the combustion Karoq SUV, but it now won't do for some time while so many of us remain wedded to fossil fuel. Ask us to nominate a benchmark in the lower mid-sized EV hatch segment, and this would probably be it. Yes, there are more exciting choices in this class, but if you're looking for a great all-rounder, then right now, we think there are a few better ones.